Hey guys, welcome back to Up the Coast with Alex and Britt. We are on episode 11. We are officially 10 weeks through the 2026 ACC NCAA softball season. Britt, it has been a doozy.
Wow. This
Yeah.
weekend was exhausting, I think, but in like a really good way if you're not a Florida State fan. Sorry, Alex. We're going to get into it big time here in a minute, but what a weekend. We have a new number one in the ACC, Duke. The team that started 9-9 this season is now, with just a couple weeks left, number one in the ACC. Wow, what a weekend.
Yeah, crazy stuff. And, we'll get into Duke a little bit more granular about their weekend games. But I guess I want to know, like, what do you think it is for Duke that has changed lately and put them in that number one spot?
Yeah, I remember we talked about when they were in that 9-9 streak. Remember when they went to Florida, was in Florida again, came back home, went to California. I mean, I think they were tired during that 9-9 streak. They lost to ECU at home. It was just a bad time for them. But I think their hitters, man, have really come alive lately. And I think they're playing around with their pitching staff enough, like bringing KK Mathis, still crazy to me, but it's working. So I think they've gotten creative and their bats have just exploded lately.
I think that too. And I was asked that question, which is why I asked you, like, what has it been that's changed? And I think the hitters in general across the game have really come alive. You see the first couple of weeks, the offenses are sometimes slow because pitchers are a little bit more dominant that early in the season, but the hitters have been, like you said, explosive and just a lot of fun to watch. And they've really, I think, catapulted this Blue Devil team into that top spot right now. And arguably, like they're the best right this moment. They're the best.
Yeah, and we always talk about how it takes some time to find your identity too. Like Duke knows we have to score runs. Like that we're gonna have to score a lot of runs to win games, and they embrace that and they're having fun with it for sure.
All right, so we were posed the question, or Brett, you were, and kind of responded so eloquently. Love that for you, by the way. About kind of the rest of the rankings and Florida State and Virginia Tech in question, and it was a question of whether or not Virginia Tech should be in the conversation ahead of Florida State for hosting postseason when you start talking that regional bid. What do you think there?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good question. I have it verbatim right here. Shouldn't Virginia Tech be ahead of FSU in the hosting combo based on number of wins, road plus neutral wins? RPI is trash. That's how they ended it, which I thought was funny. Which, RPI is not perfect. Thankfully, the selection committee gets to use KPI and DSR as well. So, and they're not perfect either. So that's why more is better. More information to go off of is good. But I think at a surface level, if you look at it and you're talking about the number of ranked wins that Virginia Tech has, RPI 1 through 25, they're 7-4. Florida State is 6-7. So yeah, they have some better top wins in terms of RPI, but you keep digging a little bit further, their RPI wins against 51 through 100 teams. They're 6-1. They have a bad loss there. And then Florida State against 51 through 100 or 12-0. And I think the big kicker right here is RPI 101 and above, they're 18-1. That loss to Michigan State, they're 124 in RPI right now, really hurts. And I've seen it before where you can have like no big win. You can have a couple big wins, but if you have a bad loss, like the selection committee like looks at that hard.
Yeah.
And then another caveat, caveat,
Caveat, caveat.
caveat.
Yeah. Whatever.
Their best win right now, according to DSR and KPI, is Virginia. And you're like, well, they beat Georgia, right? They're top 10, but they don't consider the games in February. And I got a direct quote from DSR that says that February is a calibration period for DSR. It can produce some wonky putouts. So we say the biggest point extracted once the calibration period is over, because the system is still calibrating and those early games are often biggest exchanges and don't paint the most accurate picture. So that was a huge sweep for Virginia Tech, but it's not really being considered. And then you look at Florida State, and their best win, according to KPI, is Marshall, and DSR is North Florida. So I think the bad loss right now is holding Virginia Tech back from being ahead of Florida State.
I like that. And I think you summarized it fantastic. And just looking at like a very granular, deep level, But I think it comes down to, like you said, best win and worst loss. And I think right now, Florida State does sit, like you're saying, ahead of Virginia Tech in that aspect because I think their best wins, neither are super impressive. You look at, like you said, Virginia Tech, their best win is Virginia. Florida State's best win is, who'd you say?
Marshall and UNF, even though
Or
they
UNF, I'm sorry,
even
UNF,
though
yeah,
they beat UCLA, right?
right.
Which
But
is
it was
crazy.
in February, so it is crazy. It is crazy. But yeah, like you look at those games, but then you're right, the worst loss on paper right now, Virginia Tech has that Michigan State loss, and that's gonna hurt them. And then Florida State's worst loss right now is who did you say?
Stanford.
Stanford. Yeah, Stanford.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of the numbers game, and I don't know how else to say it.
Win
Like
the game you're
I
supposed
love
to
how you said
win,
it.
right? Like we
Yeah,
say that all the time. And it stinks for Virginia Tech because I'm pretty sure their team was down. Like they had those two bad losses in the same weekend at Charlotte, and their half
yeah,
their team had the flu.
yeah.
That doesn't help.
Sucks.
And then like when they're so tight like that, you look at the best win, the worst loss, but you also can look at the strength of schedule to look at. And non-con for Virginia Tech is 152, and non-con for Florida State is 15. So there's a big difference there. So I think those are the separators. I think that's a great question. Will they get it right? I don't know, but
We hope.
Florida State has opportunities coming up too, though, with home and home with Florida to really help them
Yeah.
too. So
Yep.
it's not over yet.
No, it's good. And just a reminder, I don't remember if you mentioned it or if it was something we talked about before. The top 12 teams make it to the ACC tournament. So 3 teams will be left out of the tournament. And right now, Syracuse, Boston College, and Cal only have a few wins each. So it's not looking like it's going to work in their favor, but never know.
Yeah, that'd be hard to pull out of. Yeah, Notre Dame, Pitt, and NC State right now getting into the tournament down at the bottom.
Those last 3, yeah.
All
Keep it
right.
interesting. So should we open up talking about the big sweep?
I know you don't want to, but I think
No,
you
I
do
do.
want to. But
I
you
do.
want to. For everybody watching, this is really a new experience for our friend Alex. She has never experienced being swept as a player. She's never been experienced being swept as a commit to Florida State. She's never experienced a sweep as an alum from Florida State. That's insane. Florida State had not been swept since 2011. Alex, as somebody that has experienced sweeps as players and as an alum, it's not fun and you're feeling a lot of emotion. And it's really, you can pull a me and kind of get one extreme over the other. And you're not, and we've been talking, you're not an extreme like, oh my God, Florida State's falling apart. You're at the other, you're everybody. Florida State's good, guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 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 I think some people are like pulling the alarms of like, holy shit, what's going on? Like Stanford's a really good team. And I went on my soapbox for a little bit yesterday. Like I was working on all these notes and I think like in all caps, I literally put like people are forgetting that Stanford was a top 15 team early in the season. I think a couple weeks in that midpoint, we were all like, WTF, what is going on over there? But they're a really good team. We've known they've had potential. They've been really good. They've had signs and glimpses of like, damn, they can really play, but it hadn't been showing up on the field. So I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum right now of like, well, what the hell? Like, let's stop talking about Florida State losing and let's start talking about how damn good Stanford was to get those wins.
Yeah, Stanford at the beginning of the year was my pick. Like I thought
Yeah.
Stanford was going to be the one,
Yeah.
but they got hurt. They have been
Yep.
dealing with a ton of injuries and a lot of injuries that we don't even know because some of the players are still playing in some sort of capacity, but can't do everything right. But they got help. They're healthy. And like this is the first weekend that they're healthy. Alyssa Houston, the only upperclassman pitcher that led in every major category last season, was back this weekend in a full capacity role. They have Ava Gall's back. I mean, like they're healthy and we see what they can do when they're healthy against a really freaking good Florida State team.
Yeah, agree. And let's talk a little bit about, we'll get into what Stanford did well, but let's talk a little bit about, I think, where Florida State maybe struggled and some of the areas they did well. Like they still played good defense. I think that they left a lot of people on base. And I was looking at some numbers. I think it was like 23 or 26. I don't have those numbers exactly. between the 3 games. That's a lot of people to leave on base.
Yeah, and games 2 and 3, in game 2, they left 10 on. In game 3, they left 9 on, and that's hard. That's hard to do, and for me, we had it or this is totally just me, and you can tell me if you disagree, and that's fine, but this was the first time in a very long time that I could actually see it on Florida State that they kinda got that "oh shit" moment. I remember seeing Marion Heller's face at one point, like, kinda not fr but we haven't been here before, like, "Oh my god, we could lose this series," and I think that we've talked about how they have the 9 freshmen and 10 first-year players on this team, and it never really came you never saw it this year, and I think we saw a little bit of that this weekend for the first
Yeah.
time, and that happens.
It does, and I think one of the things that Coach has been really good at talking about, like, in interviews, whether it's in-game, like, coaches' calls through the weeks has been, we try not to pay attention to the noise. Like, Issa Torres didn't even know at first, like, what the numbers were that she was putting up. It was like she didn't know that she was on that consecutive at-bat hit streak and all these things, but, like, I think that people know from a program standpoint how good this program has been for so long, to your point. So I do think that whether they actually know when the last time Florida State lost a series, got swept, when it was, they know that it doesn't happen often, and I think that alone is the pressure.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, 2011 is a long time ago to not be so and that was just Lonnie's 3rd season, right? And then 15 years later, it happened. It's what she's done there year in and year out. Like, you are one of these players that's never been swept, but think about how many players have been through that program that's never been swept. Like,
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
More of the game, the defensively, I think the infield played good for Florida State. There were multiple times I saw it in left field, center field, and right field that a ball got away from an outfielder and gave up an extra base that ended up coming around to score. Like, it didn't go down as an error, but just not played cleanly, got past the outfield, some things that we haven't seen this year. I think in the circle, the biggest thing for Florida State was they came out with Ashton Danley to start game 1, and she pitched a lot this weekend because she's a lefty, and she did great. I thought she did a really good job, but they're great hitters. She can't go 3 straight games, right? So they had to bring somebody else in, and I think the right-handed hitters had issues going against the lefty heavy power lineup, and I think that was kind of brought to a head this weekend.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think anytime you have the opposite-handed pitcher throwing to the opposite-handed hitter, you've got to be able to establish that inside zone. And if you don't, it can be a long day, leaving things over the plate. Or, I mean, as a hitter, I love to hit outside. So I think that's a big part of it. And then when you have the hitters in the Stanford lineup like you do, Jade Berry, Addison Shepherd, Taryn Kern, like you can't miss. And if you do, they're gonna make you pay, and they did. And it was, oh my gosh, the stat you had, I loved it. What was it? 19 of the 22 runs for Stanford were scored with 2 outs. Are you flipping kidding me?
I mean, so close to getting out of innings, but
Yeah.
on the other hand, like Stanford, how about you with 2 outs? Like, I think we learned or I learned this weekend, a team's relentless.
Yeah.
And you think about the Sunday games that they've just had to battle, like Carolina, at Duke when they blew that lead, against Louisville when they blew it. And they were able this weekend to keep fighting. And game 1, freshman who had been pitch hit for, hadn't gotten a hit that game, got pinch hit for earlier in the game, comes up with the bases loaded and hits a walk-off grand slam. I mean, that shows some commitment. You get pinch hit for, it's real easy to be like, well, coach doesn't believe in me. She hit for me earlier, like, whatever. But no, she didn't, and I love that.
Yeah, just the back against the wall. And I think, again, as somebody that wants to see an ACC team or ACC teams go deep into postseason, like it really gets me excited because this is a team that has kind of ridden the roller coaster and found ways. And again, like looking at, I want to be in Oklahoma City. I want to be, watching super regional games and talking shop after wins and everything else. Like this is really encouraging because for a few weeks, Stanford was like having us kind of like Clemson, honestly, like what the hell is going on
I
out
mean,
there?
losing this
Yeah,
series against Notre Dame at home,
yeah,
that was a
insane.
big one for me where I'm like, what's happening? But they're
Yeah,
healthy, and I think this could be a huge confidence boost. I mean, for
yeah.
anybody to even take a series from Florida State is hard to do, much less sweep it. So hopefully Stanford uses this. And look at their schedule. You told me 2 weeks ago that I would be talking about Stanford being able to host. Like, you're out of your mind. But they're squarely in that hosting conversation now, and I look at their schedule, they shouldn't lose another game, and there's currently, what, 17 RPI? Let's see.
Yep, you're
17
right.
RPI, KPI, and then 18 DSR. They've got Fresno State, NC State, Santa Clara series against Cal, and then Pacific and Sac State left.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
They
I'm
have good
excited.
wins.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State.
Before we move on, I've just got to give you a little love because we mentioned that the last time Florida State was swept was 2011, and that was by UNC, Florida State in 2011. Britt, that was your team, and I know one of the games it was 1-0, and that was your RBI.
Alex,
If anybody's gonna sweep Florida State, I'm glad it was you.
thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. I didn't tell you how I got that RBI.
I don't care.
You
Doesn't
don't
matter.
hit by pitch.
I knew you were either gonna say like hit by pitch or like a walk or something, whatever.
So they kind of gave us that game. But,
That's hilarious.
I like
You'll take it.
anything to be a part of Lonnie's history, right?
Yeah.
Like, let me be there. No, but a phenomenal series. I think for like that Friday game, then we'll move on. Kind of felt like storybook, like
Yeah.
weather delay, it's raining, they're in the brand new stadium, walk-off home run in the rain under the lights against the top 10 team.
Yeah.
They get a golden ticket. Like, it was just like
Oh yeah.
so storybook. Congrats to Taryn Kern, but like
Yep.
good for them. Good for them. Florida
Agreed.
State, you're going to be just fine. But I do think this series hurt them in terms of getting a top 8 seed. It's not going
Yeah.
to hurt them big time, but it didn't help them, I guess. They
Yeah.
definitely
I
fell.
agree.
RPI is 14, KPI 16, DSR 13. They need to take care of some business. Florida home and home is huge for Florida State. So they have opportunities to get back there.
Agreed.
All right. How we feeling, Alex? Do we feel
I feel fine. I'm through it. I got through it. We're good.
okay? All right. You want to go to Virginia Tech, Virginia, the Commonwealth
Yep.
Clash?
Let's do it. Virginia Tech won the series, but I feel like there were really bright signs for Virginia. So something that I had kind of been looking up was about the runs allowed. And for this Virginia Tech team, they're a team that hits the ball really damn far, really damn hard, a lot, right? Their biggest asset for the last several years has been run production, and Virginia kept them to 5 runs or less every game. And up until that point, it had only been done, I think, 7, maybe 6 or 7 times throughout the whole season. And every other game, Virginia Tech had scored 6 or more runs. So again, this is a very hard offense to do that to. And the fact that Virginia had to play them day after day after day, and the pitchers showed up. So I'm really proud and encouraged about that one.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly noted. I mean, to keep them under 6 runs is incredible. I'll take a little bit further. Virginia Tech didn't hit a home run this series, 0 in 3 games. And in game 2, 9 out of their 10 hits were singles. Like, Virginia kept the ball in the park. They got a lot of ground ball outs where, Virginia Tech's trying to lift and go. So yeah, I think that's huge for Virginia. And then on the other side, like, Virginia Tech proving they can win without hitting the long ball. Like, they do know how to string some singles together when the long ball is not there against a certain pitcher. For Virginia, an entire staff was able to keep them in the park, but they were able to show that they know how to hit situationally, move runners, and get runs across. So I think both teams showed good things on that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Do you want to talk about the Commonwealth Clash trophy concept?
Let's get to that in BS no BS.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, you're good.
I got excited.
Preview.
I know. Sorry. What's to come?
I will say for Virginia though, they're hurt too. Like, they have two major injuries with Bella Cabral and Cassidy Hudson's. Their 2 and 4-hole hitters are out. They both got hurt in that Duke series. And I don't know if this is just Joe Harden just like trying to be positive or not, but she says she's hoping they're back by the ACC tournament. So that tells me they're pretty severe injuries. I saw Bella Cabral with like one of those ACL knee braces on. Don't know if that's what it is or what it is at all, but they're out. And Bella Cabral was second on the team in RBI. So they missed her big time this weekend. They left 10 runners on base on Sunday. When her spot would normally come up, you're like, dang, it would have been nice to have her there. So Virginia is battling through some injuries right now too.
Yeah, and both teams are sitting pretty too as it pertains to the rankings in the top 25 for sure. But between RPI, KPI, DSR, like all pretty confident in where they're sitting there.
Yeah, I think Virginia Tech this is where they were last year. Do you remember where like Virginia Tech's going to host and then they
Yeah.
go to lose two of their last three ACC series, one of
Yes.
them to Pitt.
Yes.
So they have three series left: Georgia Tech, UNC, and Syracuse. So they've been here
Yep.
last year and they essentially blew it and had to go down to Alabama. So
Yeah.
Virginia Tech, let's learn from last year. Let's take care of some business over the next 3 weeks and you'll be a host spot.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. You never know. You never know what can happen. It's hard this time of year too, I think, because like you're saying, people are dealing with injuries. People are kind of rolling, like riding that roller coaster. Maybe they started good, they were peaking, and now they're kind of going into that valley a little bit. But you just gotta try as hard as you can to stay steady because the highs can feel really high and the lows can feel really, really dangerously low.
One last thing to
Uh,
note on Virginia
yeah,
Tech, their pitching staff, 3 complete games.
same.
Mazzarone, Friday, Sunday, complete game. Bree Carrico, Saturday, complete game. So they've got some good pitching that's strong right now, which we do not see anywhere across the country right now. So looking good, Hokies. Virginia, get healthy. Let's take care of
Yep.
it. Let's get back.
UNC Duke. All right. So you were right on this prediction. Duke took the series. I said they were going to sweep. They did not, in fact, get the sweep. But I feel like Duke, like we talked about, is looking really good. They're sitting in the top spot in the ACC right now. I think that it's surprising to me with how they started.
Mm-hmm.
We talk a little bit about how the 9-9 start and it was kind of rocky and all these things. Again, I think the questions were the hitters weren't hitting and the pitching was a big question mark. But I feel like they've figured it out on how best to manage both.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. Watching them play this weekend, our over under on the weekend, Alex, was 12.5 home runs. Duke hit 12 themselves.
Yep,
They
I
were
love that for us.
loving the long ball. Tyrena Jones and Amelia Vega both hit 3 home runs. And then it was Adeline Matthews, KK Mathis, and there was one more player. Come back to me in a second. Maybe it's in my notes. One more player that had 2 home runs on the weekend. So 5 players. Your leadoff, Deanna Jennings. Thank you.
I was
Had
okay. I was
two
gonna say I think it was her. Yeah,
in the leadoff spot. And then your 9 hole, Adeline Matthews, for most of the season had two, and then the power sprinkled in between, which was pretty crazy, which was awesome. So they were swinging the bats really well. Cassidy Curd, complete game 3. And I'm pretty sure last week I said, hey, she's the closer for this team now.
yeah.
I was wrong.
No, but I think you're right. I think that there has been a lot of usages for her, and I really like that too because I think it's preparing her to come in any moment because we all know that coming in for a closing role, coming in for a start, coming in mid game, they're all different output wise. Obviously, you're trying to get the job done similarly, but as it pertains to the mindset and the situations, like they all have different magnitudes. So I really like that note because she had been coming in later in ball games. We saw her do all of the things this weekend. So that was really encouraging as well.
Yeah, especially she started game 1, did really good through 3 innings, and then got roughed up. And they brought in KK Mathis. She ended up getting the win. KK Mathis got a win. Still blows my mind.
Same.
But then for Cassidy Curd to come back, get the start in game 3, and go the complete game, like that's awesome for her to have that turnaround. Now Duke is squarely in a position to host, which is really cool and exciting for them. They did drop the middle game. You know, I was really excited for UNC coming into the weekend after Kenneray Dart threw that no-hitter midweek. And then she came on the ACC network, and let me tell you, she was talking her shit about this weekend. Like, I loved it. Like, I loved the confidence. I was like, we've needed KRD. Like, where has she been? And excited for her. She was excited for this weekend. Gets the game 1 start, and Alex, she didn't record an out, man. It was tough. It was tough to watch. I hated it for her as an alum, as a fan, but she's still that piece I think they're missing in the circle. Carly Maxson and Kendall Frost combined for the winning game too, and they look decent. I mean, they kept the ball in the park for the most part. I think only 2 home runs that game, but I think that win for UNC is huge. Just to get one because they're on the bubble of even being in postseason, and that
Yeah.
win really helps them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, this is a team that the hitters can hit, and it's been a question this whole season of, how good is the quality of their competition and who they're playing. And I think that is still to be determined, and they're one of the only teams we can really say that because their strength of schedule was so low. But you see signs again, you see signs of life, and you're like, okay, like they can kind of do this. But it's going to be about getting that experience against great competition consistently. It's the only way to keep getting better.
I agree. I agree. And looking forward, are we going to get another ACC team into postseason? They have ECU in a midweek, have to take care of business there. Then they have Florida State, South Carolina, Virginia Tech. They take 2 wins out of there, 3 wins out of there, not even series wins, just 3 wins. The rest, 4 wins, including ECU, the rest of the way. And I think they put themselves in the postseason.
Yeah, agree. They're right there.
But
The
fun
bubble.
matchup. I love the rivalries this week.
It's a hard word.
It's so
All the
hard. I hate
R's.
saying it.
All right, let's talk about Georgia Tech before we do our last ACC series of the
Okay.
week.
Um,
Tough.
really, really hard.
Yes.
They are 26 and 22. They went to Iowa, Alex. Like, that's far.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I
I
meant
don't
to
know.
look to see maybe they have a player from Iowa on their team. You know how like Lonnie went out to Oregon
Yeah,
last year because somebody's from Oregon. I don't know, but they went to Iowa on Friday, lost to Iowa. Saturday, lost to South Dakota State, and then came back and run ruled both of them. So clearly they were the better team, but they dropped those 2 games, and they are sitting at 50 RPI, 53 KPI, 49 DSR, and they've lost so many one-run games, and drop those 2 games really hurts. They're 26 and 22 on the season. They have Virginia Tech, Furman, and FSU left. They have to win 2 of those games to make it to the ACC tournament, 1 game above 500 to even be eligible for postseason. So that being said, have to beat Furman, and then you've got to take a game from Virginia Tech or Florida State. I hate it for Georgia Tech.
yeah, me too. On paper, we've said it with other teams too. Like you gotta win the games that on paper you gotta win. That you're the better team. Like you can't let those slip because that's really gonna hurt you for postseason. Because like we talked about, I feel like the committee a lot of the time, and to an extent, rightfully so, they don't take into consideration your good wins as much as they do your bad losses.
You're 100% right on that.
It's gonna screw them, I think, at some point. So let's hope the next couple weeks or what's left of it, they lock it down.
And it's not like Virginia Tech and Florida State don't have anything left to play for. Like somebody's in that top 3 of Duke, Virginia Tech, Florida State, even Louisville at 4. Like they can still win the regular season tournament. So
Yeah.
I mean, not tournament, the regular season title.
Yes. Yes.
So they're going to be giving it their all too. So here we go. All right, Pitt, Clemson. What
This
you
one
got on that?
surprised me. Well, I say surprised me. Nothing surprised me this year, I feel like, with Clemson. However, I'm proud to see Pitt take one of the games, keeping it exciting. And again, this was a team, that Clemson has been super shaky and all the question marks there, but Pitt came out and took game 1, and I think that was huge. Just kind of try to make a statement. This is a Pitt team that we've seen get better throughout the years, but I am glad to see that Clemson responded because, again, on paper, Clemson is the better team. And to see them get the series win, like, hey, things happen sometimes in a game, you can drop it, but to come back, that short-term memory respond, I think that's really encouraging stuff. One of the things I was most excited for Clemson was seeing Macy Cintron. She picked up 2 wins. That was not on my bingo card for what's been the last 2.5, 3 months. So.
Right. I mean, she had only thrown 3 innings going into that Virginia Tech series, but this was the first time that Sierra Manis, she's pitched game 1 in every ACC series and has gone a complete game, every single game 1. And they've won most of those. I think they've dropped 1. They beat Virginia Tech last weekend. She's gone the distance in game 1 every single game. And you can't expect a pitcher to be at 100% this point in the season. She's tired. She's thrown a ton of innings. Like her body, I just imagine how it feels right now. And she had an off night. I mean, she gave up back to back to back home runs to 7, 8, 9 hitters, gave up 4 home runs in just a couple innings in game 1. And then who are they going to turn to if she couldn't go the full game? Because we've seen Abby Dunning struggle, but being able to turn to Macy Cintron has been huge for them.
Yeah.
And also, John Rittich took
air.
up the lineup after game 1. And we've been talking about how we need to see Macy and Julia Noller step up offensively. And Julia Noller didn't play game 2 or game 3. So shook it up. and got some wins.
Sometimes that's what you have to do. It's like in the best way possible, like pissing people off to get them fired up and get them back in those moments. But I did love to see, so talk about manufacturing runs. Kylie Johnson got her 11th stolen base of the season. She also collected, it was her 30th of her career. That puts her in 6th all time for Clemson history. And then Taylor frickin' Pipkins, 5 straight home runs or games with a home run. So she's hit 5 home runs the last couple of games, like swinging a hot bat. I love to see it. She was the one that was the star last year in the ACC championship.
Yes, yes. And you sent her the ball, right? You gave her ball?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was awesome. And
So
then
fun.
just to piggyback on that, like freshman Mac Pavesi, like she's crushing it. And Matt Collins, and then Sarah Bro, man. I swear she's gonna be something to deal with in the future. So there's
Yep.
definitely some bright spots for Clemson. Good job taking the series. They have a game against South Carolina, a series against Virginia, and Duke left. So they're gonna have to keep grinding. Pitt has Louisville and Cal, and I think they're in a situation to be just fine to make it to the ACC tournament.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. You want to go to players of the week? You got one? I hope we don't have the same one.
Go first.
Okay. I was going to go Mina Vega. She was 9 for 12 on the week, so hit 750. She hit 4 home runs this week, and she scored 10 runs. I also love that fact, too, because I think she had like 5 RBIs with the home runs and stuff. But to score 10 runs, just talk about getting on base, your team coming through. Like, those are one of my favorite stats is the RBIs and runs scored, just because good production.
I think it's crazy how she had, 4 home runs and 4 doubles and just 5 RBIs.
I know.
Like, to me, then you're like, well, she is the 2-hole. Like,
yeah, she is the one getting on base,
do we
I
need to
guess.
move
And
her
then Deanna
down?
Jennings is hitting home runs, so like,
We
is
can't
she
move
even
her
on
down.
base? Yeah.
What a great problem to have if you're Marissa
Yeah.
Young.
Yeah.
Great player of the week, and I think she is the ACC player of the week for sure based on numbers. My player of the week, though, I'm not going based on numbers. I am going with Addison Shepard from Stanford. For a
Love it.
freshman to step up in that moment, I mean, the stadium's packed, it's raining, you had already been pinch hit for, you haven't gotten a hit all night, come up with a walk-off grand slam. That gets my player of the week. Gives you
Cool.
feels. Sorry,
Love
bring
it.
that game back up.
No, you're good. It's deserved. It's deserved.
You're starting to learn that, people do get swept sometimes.
They
It's
do.
just not
Don't make it a habit, but you
Yeah,
know.
right. Let's go another 15 years before we see that
Yeah.
again for state, okay? Once every 15 years, or Alex is gonna be mental.
Yeah.
We've already had it, girl.
I already am mental, yeah.
And tell
That's
her
okay.
that, this happens to people, just not you. I understand. Okay. All right. Perfect segue to BS or no BS. Alex, BS or no BS? People are over exaggerating and saying how bad Florida State's loss is and underselling Stanford's success and that Stanford's good.
Yeah.
BS or no BS?
That is no bullshit. They are 100% doing that. Florida State's good. Stanford's good too. So let's stop talking about how nervous people should be if you're a Florida State fan or Florida State's on the bubble for hosting. No, they're freaking not. And Stanford, freaking finally. That's what I want to say. Freaking finally. They're a great team. They were top 15, top 10 even to start the season. Like, hell yeah, let's go.
Good. I'm glad you got that out there.
Yeah,
We're definitely going
thanks.
to clip that just so the world can hear it.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we kind of gave you a little preview into this. Some background. When football teams play their rivalry series, I know when Duke and Carolina play, they have the big bell that their trophy they're playing for, and whoever wins it gets to take the trophy after the game and paint it and keep it for a year until they play again. And like I know Mississippi State and Ole Miss, they have a trophy. A lot of these rivalries have trophies. The Commonwealth Clash has a trophy for their football team. BS or no BS? We should have those trophies for these rivalry series and conference.
Yeah, no BS. I think that it'd be so fun to have something that's passed, I say back and forth. Like you want the ownership rights, and it's all about having the bragging rights when you're playing that in-state foe. And I think it's cool. So I'm here for it. I say let's do it.
I would love to see it. Okay. All right. Last BS or no BS? Tyrena Jones is the best transfer pickup this season in the ACC.
No BS. She's swinging a legit bat. She has insane numbers right now. I don't know what the average is off the top of my head, but she's hit 17 home runs. Like the immediate impact that she has made on this team has been elite for a team that needed to come in and score a lot of runs as they figured out their pitching. So I'm going to say no BS. She is, in my opinion, the best transfer pickup.
I just think about who she's replacing or trying to replace is Anna Gold, right? Like, how do you replace that kind of ball player? Mercy Young was able to do it, and Tyrena Jones didn't even play last year. Like, she was hurt at Purdue, didn't play after a year of not playing. I agree. It's the best pickup. All right, you want to do some pick'ems? You want to pick what's going on? We have good midweeks. We don't know Duke and Tennessee play this week, Tuesday.
Yeah.
This will come out after that happens, but that'll be a good one. And Clemson and South Carolina play, so that'll be a good one. We won't pick those, but hopefully we'll talk about those next week in a good way. All right, first ACC series that we're going to have you pick Pitt at Louisville.
I'm going to go Louisville takes the series in 2.
I agree. I think Pitt is what Jenny Allard's doing there is underrated. She's done a great job. And Gwen Sparks in the circle, KK Esparza, I love that. But Louisville is 4th in the ACC. Nobody's really talking about them. That's probably our fault too. But like Bree Despines and Mac and Zabala, they're just putting a great season together. Scrappy, fun to watch team. If you haven't watched them, if you like speed and moving runners and stealing bases, they by far and away are the stolen base leader in the conference. All right, so we both agree Louisville takes it in 2. Georgia Tech at Virginia Tech.
Ooh, I'm gonna go Virginia Tech. I'm gonna go Virginia Tech sweeps. What do you think?
After Georgia Tech, what they did this last weekend, I would definitely lean that way. But Virginia Tech last weekend against Clemson dropped game 1. This week against Virginia dropped game 1. They need to stop doing that, but I'm going to let history tell me that they're going to drop a game. So they're going to win the series, but drop a game. Okay. Georgia Tech needs a win. So
yeah.
All right. Virginia at Clemson. I think this might be my favorite matchup of the week.
I was going to say, I think this is going to be the matchup to watch. I'm going to go
Virginia with the injury.
I wish I could like pinpoint Clemson a little bit better. I'm going to go Clemson's going to win the series because I think what Macy Cintron is doing right now is super beneficial for them. And like you said, with the injuries of Virginia, I think they should and probably will play it safe a little bit because it's more important those players stay healthy through postseason. So I'm going to go Clemson. I'm going to go just takes 2. I'm not going to say a sweep.
I am going to go. I know I always give Clemson benefit of doubt because it's so hard to play at McWhorter. And they looked really good past 2 games, but they gave up a lot of runs too. I'm going to actually go Virginia. And it's hard to do with Hudson and Cabral being out, but their pitching staff is really good. I'm going Virginia. 2 games. All right, last one. UNC at FSU. I surely would hate to be the team to play Florida State after they got swept for the first time in 15 years.
Yeah, me too. I am gonna go Florida State sweeps because I hope that they're freaking fiery. That's what I think.
Like Florida State has never had like motivation like this in 15 years. That could be scary. That could be scary.
Well, and to be fair, and I'm not taking anything away from the 2011 sweep, I don't know that their expectation was also what it was then. Like getting a sweep then, like, yeah, it sucks. But now, like they're a top 8 contender, or they were for hosting, a super regional. Now it's like, oh, shit, guys, let's go. So yeah, I think they've got more to lose. So I think that it matters more right now.
Yeah, I think I'm agree with Carolina was able to take one from Duke. I'm gonna say they take one.
Okay, I like it.
They need it. They
hit. They can hit.
And they need it for postseason.
Yeah. All right.
All right. What a fun week.
We'll come back with you guys. I know. So fun. We'll come back to you guys next week.
Tonight. Well, Wednesday night on ACC Network. She'll be out there breaking it down for you.
I'll be here. I know. Sorry, I was yawning because I had a 6 a.m. flight this morning. Was up at the ass crack of dawn.
Go get you some coffee. We'll be back with you next week. Subscribe, leave comments, hit us up on Twitter. Questions, we can always give our opinions at least. All right.
Bye.
Bye.